Hi guys, it's Amy with Stampin' with a Heart. I'm going to show you how to do this card that I've done for you. It's basically going to show you how to do this technique in the background, which I think is absolutely stunning. And I love the free flowing of the watercolors here. So first thing you're going to do to get this birch here, I have it already done. I'm not going to show you how to do it, but you're going to take your Versamark here and you're going to stamp your background on a piece of watercolor paper, which I have here. First thing you'll do is take your embossing buddy or your any kind of anti-static powder tool. You'll rub it over your paper and then you will stamp this image in Versamark, coat it with your white embossing powder, and then heat set. And as you can see here, I have this one already done for us, so you don't have to watch that. So give me a second. I will move this stuff out of the way so we don't spill any embossing powder. And what we're going to do is, now that we've got this image, we're going to color it. I'm going to choose different colors today. This one was done with Lagoon and Mountain Mist. These two colors right here. These. So I'm going to try just doing it in some greens, and I have picked Moss and Limeade, which is what I have. It comes in a couple of the different packs. I thought about doing blues, but I kind of want to do a Christmas card with this. So this is what we're going with, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Here I have my two colors, my watercolor brush markers from Altenew, and then I just have a aqua painter, or whatever you want to call it, is filled with just plain water. I am going to get a paper towel, because we will need a paper towel for this. And I'm going to have it folded up at the bottom of my paper. So I'm just going to take a paper towel, fold it up so it can catch the extra liquid here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just literally going to squeeze my brush here. And I'm going to make sure I get it super saturated. There we go. We got it nice and wet. And I'm going to take the top of this, and I'm just going to put some water up here on the top. And I'm going to do it really heavy. And then I'm going to literally just take it and let it run. Just lots of water. You're going to just let this run down here however it would like to do. The more water, the more running. And you don't have to worry too much about this part. I mean, you can make it go down. And your watercolor is going to do the same. It's going to follow the same pattern. But you need to make sure you get this top pretty saturated. If you wanted to, you could even take a spritzer and just kind of lightly spritz the whole thing with just some water, so it gets it a little damp, so the water will go wherever it wants to go. And that's the whole idea. And you see I've got the water being caught down here, which is what I want. So now that you've got it saturated, you're going to take your darker color, which I'm going to do Moss, and I'm going to literally, I'm going to actually turn this kind of sideways so you can see and I can get a better angle. We're going to take and squeeze this paint so that we get enough paint. See how it's coming in, and it's just literally going to go however it wants. And you just squeeze a lot of this paint in here, and you turn it so it will literally just go. And the more paint you add, the more it's going to go. And just take its flow. If you want it to get lighter, you would add more water to it. You can add more and more colors. Like I want to, there we go. I want some more of these little drops of color. Now I have a lot of color, but not a lot of, so I'm going to add some more water. I don't want to use all of my watercolor color. And it's just so cool. I love this. I love how it just randomly goes wherever it wants to go because it's following the pattern of the water. Now I like the top to be super dark, so I'm just going to keep adding. And then if I want more color, I can literally just kind of take down and brush out some of those trees. Because, you know, it's wet. You can make it do whatever you want it to do. Like, I'm going to join these over here so you actually see a whole tree stem. You could go in and technically paint a tree if you'd like, but I kind of just like the randomness. I'm letting the water go where it wants to go, and I'm going to leave it at that. Now that you've got this part done, you're going to dry off or just kind of tap off the rest of it. You can leave it like that. Now what I have done, since I've got all this water on here, I'm going to take my second color, and I'm just going to come in here and kind of hold it down and literally just kind of spread some of this lighter green in the areas that it's not. And I'm trying to keep that light green. I know it will ink into some of the other, and that's fine. But I'm trying to keep some of that that dark green from being everywhere. Like it did right there on me. It really mixed into there. Now you could take this and do just like we did before and literally make it run. See how dark it made that? Now I am going to do that. I'm going to just put a big old puddle right here and let it go. Just try to fill this in a little bit. And it's okay if you have some of the white shining through. I think that makes it look kind of cool. And now I'm just going to leave this sit just like that and let it dry. You could heat set it, but I don't recommend that for this particular technique. It will end up warping and be spotty, and I just think it looks more natural. If you feel like you have too much ink on here, you can dab it off. You could also take this and smoosh it onto something else. Let's see if I've got another piece of watercolor paper. I do. So we could take this as an extra piece, as not to waste the ink, and we could just literally smoosh it on top and get some of that ink to press into your other papers. So it would give you a blotchy look. Kind of only goes where my fingers go. But, you know, you get the gist, so you don't have to waste all this ink. So, all right, we will be back, and I will show you how to finish this up. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the sentiment for this card. I've already cut everything down, and this is dry. This is how it came out. Pretty cool, huh? So this is 3 5/8 by 5 1/8, or by 5. And then this one is just 1/8 off of all of that to give us that nice little border. Now, I was thinking of going with red, but I'm going to kind of leave it in the same hues like I did the original card. And then I've got some leftover green paper that I had in my stash that I thought went nicely with this. Now, again, this is Moss and Limeade from Altenews Watercolors. So we're just going to do this. We're going to take those two colors, which I have the Moss here, and then we have the Limeade. I'm going to go heavy with the Limeade this time. And it's not very wet. My little piece of cardstock, I'm going to kind of shade my little piece over here. And I'm just going to rub some of this in here. And you might want to let this dry for a minute before you do this. And you stamp. You could stamp and emboss first. But I just wanted you to see how to get the color. You could emboss your sentiment first. Or you could stamp it. Stamp and emboss first. Or you could go ahead and do the watercolor first. It's entirely up to you. And then I'm just going to add streaks of this dark green in here and kind of just let it flow wherever it wants. And if I don't like it, if it's too dark for me, I'm going to add some water. Just to blend it out, make it look, see how it's just oozing out? And then I could take a sponge or a rag, and I just kind of like this watercolory look that's going on with this one. So that's the beauty of this, is whatever you do, it always looks a little different, and I'm just kind of letting it have its watercolory moment. Put a little more water to kind of thin it out. If you want to take more out, you would just use your paper towel and just trim it out. Or not trim it out, just do this. Like, I think there's a little too much right here, so I want to take out some of that and some of that water. So you just dip your paper towel in there. And then I'm going to leave this set to dry. and I'll stamp my sentiment on, and then I'll show you the card in the blog post. See you later.